Cross industries. All right. Well, we got a bunch of emails on Sora and Vibes, and we're only going to be able to hit a few of them here. But I also wanted to highlight two more things that Sam said to you in the interview. They were both about Sora. One was he said, I haven't looked at the numbers in a few days, but in the first few days, it was something like 30% of active users were active creators. It was just incredible. That dovetails with your article on Monday, which we could discuss shortly. You also asked him whether
I don't think it's a representative number, to be clear. It's
okay.
By definition the initial users, right, who are using it a lot, right? Like, so there's a mistake that you can make. This is a mistake all sorts of companies make, and Sam knows this better than anyone else. Your initial cohort of customers is not representative of the entire cohort. So
yes,
that is
so it's not
the
99-1 rule is
right,
not
but the point,
updated to 69-29 after
right.
this
but
Sora
the
explosion.
Thing is, if it changes to 80-15-5, like, did that add up? Yeah, it did. Okay, phew. That's a 5x increase in creation. That's astronomical. So I think we're like, so no, it's not going to be that big. If it goes from 1 to 2, that's a doubling, right? So these numbers are so large that even the smallest inflection actually ends up being hugely meaningful.
Indeed. You also asked him whether they consider putting Sora in ChatGPT, and he said, we did think about it, but it's such a different frame of mind. ChatGPT is such an intensely personal and private thing for people. I hadn't considered that when we talked about it last week. I do think that's a very perceptive understanding of the ChatGPT product and the way people use it, the way I use it. Like half the questions I'm asking ChatGPT are about my kids, different like vitamin regimens I'm taking. And it's just way more intimate than what's effectively an entertainment app and a version of TikTok full of movie parodies. And I think keeping those two products siloed makes a lot of sense. So I don't know whether you have any thoughts on that particular point. I just wanted to publicly agree with lowercase Sam on that decision. It was a light bulb moment for me as you two were talking about the Sora launch.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I think the ChatGPT experience is so good. You launch it and you're asking a question right away. I think that's something worth preserving. There's a intentionality to ChatGPT that isn't necessarily there with Sora. But yeah, this point about feeling like it's private, even though your data or your questions are not necessarily
private. Let's all be very clear about that.
Right. No, I agree. I agree that that's a good insight. The Sora bit is interesting. It's really totally different than ChatGPT. It's like, oh wait, is this a focus question? Should you be focused on something else? There's also the fact that it potentially is much more monetizable in the long run, particularly if you think about ads, and maybe that will help pay for ChatGPT. So there's a few interesting angles there.
Indeed. Well, Chris says, regarding Sora, think about every major pre-mobile content creation site. Imgur, Giphy, PhotoBucket, YFrog/Image Shack. They all wanted to leverage their content generation / hosting app to hold user attention and monetize it. They all failed at scale because just looking at UGC images or videos isn't enough to hold users long term. The aggregators all won. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. OpenAI may want to leverage Sora and viral content generation into a lean back attention aggregator, but it's an uphill battle with all the advantages accruing to the aggregators where users actually are sharing the Sora videos. OpenAI are clearly trying to leverage their products into an attention machine that they feel more comfortable advertising against than they do shoving ads into ChatGPT. I'm not confident a standalone Sora app is going to get them there. What do you think of that concern? Ultimately,
it's funny.
The aggregators always win.
So I've known Chris for decades. Chris doesn't know this actually, but he emailed me, I think it was, 15 years ago? And let me read, I pulled it up. Let me read his email. Instagram may want to leverage Instagram and viral content generation into a lean back attention aggregator, but it's an uphill advantage accruing to the aggregators where users are actually sharing the Instagram photos. Instagram is clearly trying to leverage their products into an attention machine they feel more comfortable advertising against, and they do shoving ads into whatever.
Facebook.
This is such a backwards looking take, right? Instagram started.
Old takes exposed. Tough beat.
No, but
for
there
Chris.
was but Chris did not email 20 years ago, or maybe he did. I didn't see it. There was another. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was another photo type app at the same time Instagram came out, which was, I can't think of it, but they did a similar thing with filters and all that sort of thing. I think they were actually more popular than Instagram. And the whole thing was you would create these stylized photos because their cameras were so atrocious. Like actually stylizing them made them somewhat presentable. And then you would post it onto Twitter or you post it onto Facebook and it had this cool effect and all this sort of thing. And that app, I'm kind of making the point because I can't remember what it was called. And we all still talk about Instagram because Instagram
for a while there
actually did build a network on top of that. Now, they basically lifted the network from Twitter and then had a better format in Medium, which is photos that people actually liked more than angry tweets or even interesting tweets because people like images better than text. They've laddered up into video. They have direct messaging. Now they have reels. Like, the evolution of Instagram is pretty incredible, but it absolutely did what Chris is saying cannot be done. So Now there's lots of failed ones along the way, to be sure, but I think this is overly dismissive. You don't get there unless you try it. So
they're taking a crack at it. It is an uphill battle 15 years into the social media era. These aggregators are more powerful than ever. There's more audience than ever. Even on a platform like Twitter, every Twitter challenger is basically twisting in the wind after
right.
The
I mean, there's the reason why TikTok is dominant is because they've been around for 20 years.
Well,
wait, no, they haven't been around that long. So I guess
I'm just saying it is a fair point from Chris at the end of the day. If you're trying to launch an app that will
it's a fair point, but
I
think he's overly dismissive of. And so say there's a 2% chance it works out. So at a 2% chance, and that becomes, what is Facebook worth? $2 trillion? Like your expected value there is doing math in my head, what, $20 billion? Like that seems worth it. That's the
sure. I buy that argument entirely, as long as we're clear that there's a 2 to 5% chance that Sora matters and this works as far as an actual competitor to Meta.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe for most companies it'd be 2 to 5%. For OpenAI, is it larger? I thought Sam was pretty. Most people don't know about OpenAI. It's just really cool. Yeah, whatever. No, it's an OpenAI's new AI generation app. That's why.
Well, as far as creation is concerned, David says, "Hey team, longtime Stratechery fan, and I still remember Ben debating James Allworth on the viability of the original Apple Watch. But here is my first ever email. Ben has cited the 99-1 rule lately, suggesting that Sora and AI creation tools will break that pattern. But it actually, what's that?
We're just zigzagging between people making strong assertions. May break the pattern. We'll see.
May break the pattern. Okay. But it actually has nothing to do with how easy it is to create. For the last 15 plus years, anyone could compose a tweet, especially at 140 characters, but 90% of us were happy just lurking anyway. The reality is that regardless of how easy it is to create, us 90%ers don't like to be perceived, especially these days when the most innocuous tweet or clip can go viral. Both of you are writers, so I get the logic. If everyone could write like me, why wouldn't they post their ideas? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, well, he put his finger on some discomfort I had with both last week's podcast and my article on Monday, which was basically saying most people can't write like me, which is why they're not popular. Which is a terrible way to put it, but is after 15 years, I think, or 12 years or whatever, is probably the case.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all true. Like the overall point here is correct. It's easy to tweet. I do think like video, look around us. Video is so much more compelling than text. Like we have endless examples of this at this point of the way it resonates. Just look at Instagram's evolution relative to, say, a Twitter over time. Now, very different management, and that matters. But I think even if you had way worse management of Instagram and much better management of Twitter, Instagram would still be much larger than Twitter. And if it weren't, it would be because they were even more surpassed by something else. Like, I do think the medium does matter. Number two, don't sleep on this. My cigar group from Taiwan is aflame right now because there's this guy who just retired. So he left Taiwan sort of the same time I did, a staple of cigar night. just dropping Sora videos every hour, and they're
Oh my God.
hysterical. And and who knew this guy? Actually, I kind of knew he's one of the world's greatest storytellers. Like, just he tells actually his first video that he posted there.
If it's who I think it is,
No,
I love that he's
no,
locked
you don't
into
know.
Sora.
No, it's not. You don't. It's not who you think it is. He's also a good storyteller, but no, it's another guy who his first video was an AI rendition of a story that he's told. I've heard him tell this story at least 10 times. And every time the potential for him to tell the story comes up, I encourage him to tell it because I laugh my ass off every time he tells it. He's such a good storyteller. And now he's in there with AI recreating this. And then we have this sort of back and forth. Here you are, the only ones that have it. By far my best Sora use case yet, where I'm just riffing off of his videos and making like variations of them. And
fantastic.
And so now, is he a unicorn? Sure. Are most people like him? No. Did he have like sort of clear talent in this regard? If you actually squint and look backwards, yes, the guy's an amazing storyteller. Suddenly he has a tool to create hilarious videos using this talent that he had, which is mostly wasted on corporate presentations for the first 65 years of his life. But did you see that coming? Was that possible? Is he a tweeter? No.
Would he be recording TikTok videos and telling stories on
no
TikTok?
Way. Not at all. Not at all. And like, and so, yes, is everyone going to do this? No. Are more people going to be creators in the world if this didn't exist? Absolutely. And again, to the extent that 99-1 rule is correct, changing 1 from 2 is a doubling. And yeah, it's easy to say, well, 98 still aren't. It's like, that's actually a big shift.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny. I was listening back to the episode from last week, and as we were talking about the threats to Meta, I think the explicit threat to Meta is that what people will find entertaining over time is having the ability to generate their own videos, watch videos that friends generate, and then that becomes sort of a table stakes feature that Meta has to offer in its own app in order to keep users in Meta apps and Meta's ecosystem.
Meta was stuck for so long on we're a social network, and that what I've talked about endlessly, why that was a problem relative to TikTok when TikTok was pulling from everywhere. But that doesn't mean the social network isn't valuable. If I have an equivalently entertaining video, one is from a random influencer and one is from my cigar night buddy, which one am I going to enjoy more? The problem that Facebook was having is that the delta between the influencer and my buddy's content was astronomical. If AI elevates my friend's content, of course I'd prefer the social network. And they, to the extent they've abandoned the social network for good strategic reasons, there is this opportunity to come in and sort of re-seize it.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting because the first couple days with the Sora app, I was getting on there because I knew we had to discuss it on Sharp Tech, and I was bailing after 2 or 3 minutes every single time I opened the app.
And now you're just making dog videos.
When we got to the weekend, I started trading dog videos with Bill Bishop and having a great time, spending like a solid, I would say in total, like an hour and a half over the course of a couple days, just making dog videos to send to my family and Bill Bishop. So I definitely see the appeal. It will be interesting to see whether it leads to a spike in creation, generally speaking, because it could be like blogs where a lot of people had the ability to start a blog and then a fraction of that group is actually publishing consistently over the course of 10 or 15 years, like you. But it could also be more like digital cameras or something, or an iPhone camera where it becomes so frictionless that suddenly everyone you know takes thousands of photos, probably somewhere in the middle of that spectrum.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
It's not nothing is the point. I myself spent a lot of time making Sora videos over the weekend. So one angle not discussed in the Sora versus Vibes discussion on the last episode, this is a question from SB. Copyright and IP. Vibes went for super safe, sci-fi, screensaver-like aesthetics to avoid any IP concerns, while Sora allowed creators to use whatever IP they want. Sora's strategy worked as the app went viral. Now OpenAI is pulling back and placing opt-in copyright protections. What do you think of that strategy? What do you think, Ben?
Well, move fast and break things, right? Which Altman
Is that the
disavowed, but
disruptor's privilege at the end of the day?
absolutely. You get the brand permission. OpenAI is cool. Does anyone want to be the big bad company suing OpenAI? Meta, everyone already hates. Very easy, dumping ground. They have to be much more cautious. So that's certainly one angle. To me, the most fascinating angle about the copyright stuff is I feel a total validation for my take that people like us, copyright holders in general, are better positioned than popularly conceived of.
Will
Because
there
why?
be new valuable culture in the future? Everything is a reference to a 90s movie
No,
or an
maybe
80s
not.
movie.
Because what you need, if you're sharing something, is you need some sort of common ground, like a commonality. The
Touchstone.
reason why you got nothing but Pikachu videos or SpongeBob videos for the first week is because everyone knows what Pikachu is and what SpongeBob is. And so that is a reference point that we can anchor on. And yeah, there's probably an aspect where the biggest copyrighted material, it's kind of like digital gold. I guess I just described Bitcoin, but there's an aspect of this where it's these anchors of commonality in a world of totally individualized content, that if I want to create something that is broadly, like, what's the other big one? There's a bunch of Jesus videos, like pretty
Jesus
common
and
totem
Martin
pole
Luther King
across
Jr.
the West. Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. is another big one,
It was
right?
a pretty weird week.
Yeah. And so I think it validates the idea that in the world of content, 99% is going to be sort of like dark matter under the waves, just everyone swimming in their own AI generated world. And what will be seen, will be visible, is the things that we share and provide some sort of common network. And what is going to provide that, where is going to be the building blocks of that? The building blocks of that are going to be shared common aspects of culture. And so, yeah, that's why it was smart, if albeit reckless, albeit the disruptor's privilege, to basically not care about copyright to get it off the ground. It's why I think the copyright providers, I mean, Altman is obviously a very subjective, biased reporter on this, but there's a real opportunity. Like, if you're, and this is another reason why they need to monetize this quick. Like, if you can get to a YouTube like situation, again, one of the most brilliant innovations with YouTube was they used to take down every video with copyrighted music in it. That was a terrible experience. What they did was, if they recognize there's copyrighted music, then the revenue from that video goes to the copyright holder. Yeah. This is why Sora needs revenue, because what you can do is, if there's a Pikachu video, then
little revenue share.
Little revenue share. That's right. And that's a reason to do it, and to retain those totems, those anchors, those common building blocks that let this stuff be shareable.
Indeed. Okay. Well, Mark, subject line of this email was junk food in the fridge. And he says, Ben,
hey, you skipped the guy who said he liked vibes too.
Listen, we can read Andrew's email. Andrew said, I just want to throw my lot in with Ben. I enjoy vibes much more than Sora. I see vibes like a peaceful walk through an art gallery. It is calming. So far, Sora serves me repetitive, annoying, and uncreative slop. I think there's a world where both can be successful. So Andrew is
I like
on
art galleries.
Team Ben.
Most people do not. I'm sorry, it's hard to be an elitist, but Andrew, you and I, we can go to the Met or something like that. So
there you go.
It is what it is. Yeah, the Sora like public feed.
Pretty rough. The Sora public feed is a pretty rough hang.
That's right. Everything. So the social angle, I again. And this might be in a little bit of my defense. I was on Sora immediately first day. No one else was. So all I had was the public feed. Of course, the hilarious one is John Gruber has a whole series in Dukes of Hazzard. Like, hilarious. Yep. People are doing versions of this. So first he's driving the Dukes of Hazzard car. Then he's driving a Cybertruck. Then he's driving the Wienermobile. I stole his idea. I put
my family's dog in the Dukes of Hazzard car.
No,
it was great.
Like, super funny. Only works because it's John. I wouldn't care if it was someone else. So they are onto something with the social angle, actually making this compelling. If it was some random person in Dukes of car, I really would not find it funny at all. I find it pretty boring. Yeah. And so it is in that aspect, when it comes to the pure public feed, I still prefer vibes. But when it comes to pure total enjoyment, my friends in the videos, like the cigar group, are certainly surpass everything.
Yeah, public feed versus public feed. I would say that both apps are pretty useless, but Vibes has better music, so that's the tiebreaker. The music on Vibes is actually quite
You have
good,
to
and
turn with sound on. Yeah, with no sound, it's not nearly as good of experience. But whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, look, Andrew's with you. That's all that matters. Not me, but this Andrew email.
This weekend. Feel better.
Mark says, subject line was junk food in the fridge. Ben, there is the old dieting advice that it's okay to eat junk food. It's just not okay to stock the fridge with junk food. The idea is that you want to make good habits easy and bad habits effortful. For me, there's something similar with entertainment apps. I use Instagram because it's already downloaded on my phone, and I'll spend an hour a day watching Reels because it's right in front of me. But I'll be hesitant before I download a new app that I can't justify using for productivity. For example, I never downloaded TikTok, but I did download ChatGPT. Is that the right way of thinking about it? Or am I a weirdo because I won't download an app that I think I'd waste time on? Ben, do you have thoughts? Is Mark a weirdo?
Well, Mark can delete Instagram, just to let you know, Mark. It also speaks to the effectiveness of Facebook's strategy of cramming all this stuff into Instagram because it's already there. People already use it. Like, so he's actually tapping into something pretty profound and important about Facebook's strategy and why it's really critical to see, can Facebook get away with really cramming AI into Instagram to compete effectively, or do they need a new app? If they need a new app, that's clearly going to be sort of a tough lift. And we've seen them fail at trying to get new apps again and again and again. Basically, since the original Facebook, they've had to acquire new apps. So yeah, there's something to that. But also, Mark, you're listening to Sharp Tech. You're probably old. You don't matter.
Wasn't a problem for young people with TikTok.
So, yes.
I mean, this is what I was alluding to. This is what I was alluding to on the last episode, though. It's why AI videos in their current form, I don't take them that seriously as an entertainment threat, at least. Like, what people are actually wasting their time on, it's not videos and tweets full of explicit nonsense. There's always a veneer of usefulness to everything that's being consumed. It's not all cat videos, essentially. It's like infotainment. That's a word that I saw the other day. That's what people are consuming every single day on Reels or whatever it may be.
What I wish, maybe I'm going to institute a device usage policy at Stratechery so that I get so
you can monitor
the tracking software, and then I can see your Instagram feed and just actually calculate how much of this is even vaguely educational, as opposed to are you creating products like a shake in the kitchen, a new sort of drink, or are you just consuming products that generate thirst? That's the question.
Crap. Yeah. I will say my wife sends me a lot of parenting Instagram reels, and so now I'm served a lot of that on Instagram, and they're all stupid jokes. And
I bet they're all terrible. They need to be serving my advice. That's what needs to happen here.
Exactly. All right. Well, Ben, do you have the energy to discuss the rare earths issue on the way out here?